This weekend, the air was a bit cooler, which inspired me to make a fall favorite of mine, pumpkin pie biscuits. All you need for this is some olive oil spray to coat the pan, some baking powder, pumpkin pie spice, some brown sugar, all-purpose flour, salt, and about 8 tablespoons of butter. The first ingredient you're going to need is 2 cups of flour. This is going to be followed by a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice, two and a half teaspoons of baking powder, and a half teaspoon of salt. At this point, you're going to want to make sure that everything is well mixed. And then you're going to mix in a 1/2 cup of butter. Now, you can do this with a spoon, but I honestly just recommend working it in with your hands. You're going to want to continue to work in the butter until everything's in coarse clumps. And a good way to tell it's all right is that if you really push it together and pull it out, it'll stay in one solid but very brittle piece. And at this point, I'm going to coat the pan with oil so I don't forget, and I'm going to preheat the air fryer, which is where I'm going to bake these biscuits. And for the final ingredient, I'm going to add 3/4 cups of canned pumpkin. For this, I used pumpkin puree. Once again, I tried mixing it in with a spoon and I just found it wasn't working well, so I switched to using my hands pretty rapidly. Now, given we're making biscuits and not bread, we're only going to want to knead this enough that it becomes a solid piece of dough, no further. So it should look something like this. And I put this biscuit dough onto a cutting board and flatten it out so it's a 1/2 inch all around. If you want all your biscuits to be the same, I recommend using a mold, but I personally just use a knife to cut them out, and they turned out fine for me. And for me, this recipe made about 10 biscuits of decent size. Okay, so it makes like approximately 10 biscuits. So finally, it was time to bake the biscuits. I made these in my Instant Pot Vortex. I set it to bake, I set the temperature to 380, and I set the time to 9 minutes. I don't check them before 9 minutes, and it turned out fine. Just make sure you insert the biscuits well spaced out so they have plenty of room to breathe and spread out. All right, so we've got 3 seconds left. 2, 1, 0. Let's check them out. They look fantastic to me. I was really pleased with how these biscuits turned out. They were nice and fluffy and airy on the inside, and they had the texture and consistency that I was looking for in a good biscuit. All these biscuits are great on their own. I personally recommend they are served with apple butter. This makes them absolutely delicious. So yeah, here's a bit of footage of me just taking the first bite of them and enjoying the living heck out of them. Gave them to my partner as well. She thought they were delicious, and even the dog tried a little taste and approved. Anyways, I hope you give these biscuits a shot. They're great. This has been Bye Bye Boston. Thanks for watching.